she pulled out all the stops. Here is the intro of the episode.
Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, in her first ever podcast interview. It's happening!
It's not about the grandeur of a gesture. It's about I see you. I'm nurturing you and I see you so deeply. And I love being able to see your growth. Of all things, it's making me emotional.
I have full body chills right now.
For them to be able to look back and go, oh my gosh, she has loved us so much.
Why don't you like her?
Oh, let me count the ways. There's nothing I like about her. She is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim. My castle's too small.
Yeah.
The queen is mean to me. They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm going to put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends, while she never stops whining. And at the same time, I'm getting all worked up. I'm a founder. I'm over it. She's not important. She married for money. It's very clear. She bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a, quote, princess.
So what happens when Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher completely separately decide they've had enough of Meghan Markle's drama? You get a royal roast served from both coasts. And yeah, it wasn't pretty. Megyn tried to drop some teary monologue on her podcast, but it landed like a wet napkin. Megyn went in hard, and Bill, he straight up torched the whole thing. It's like people have finally hit their limit with her performative sob stories. I mean, at this point, even Buckingham Palace doesn't throw this much shade on a cloudy day.
I admire Harry for going to Afghanistan. Anybody who's had military service, I can only criticize so much because I haven't. And there's nothing that compares to military service. But they're ridiculous. After that, they want it both ways. You know, you can't be, these people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention, and then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
Meghan Markle, once the Duchess of dreamy fairy tales and royal candlelit vibes, hopped on her podcast and tried to cry, or at least tried to make it look like she was. It was somewhere between award season overacting and a villain backstory. Oh, from a daytime soap? What came out? A sniffle so questionable, you'd pause and rewind just to be sure it wasn't part of the audio glitch. No actual tears, not even a watery eye. Just that overly calculated silence, the kind you rehearse. Alone in the bathroom when you're fake arguing with your shampoo bottle.
Contrast all of that with the way she talks about H and their relationship. Here is it. Is it 46 or 47, Lauren? You choose.
But his heart is even more beautiful.
I love that your eyes are sparkling right now.
Oh.
Oh my God. Dan, I threw up in my mouth.
Yes. Yes.
Dan, when you do interviews on your show, do you do the Jamie Kern Lima reactions? Yes. Oh my God, there's something wrong with her. What? Wow, who communicates like that? She's the only thing saving Meghan Markle, because between the two, she's even weirder. But Meghan Markle, this is a tell. Okay, this is a tell. It's the same way on Valentine's Day. You see people post like, my rock, my life partner, the person who saved me. Guaranteed that guy is cheating on her and she knows it.
The internet, never exactly subtle, clocked the performance fast. Like within hours, hashtags were already popping off. No one needed some expert audio breakdown to figure out something felt off. Even wannabe theater kids were jumping in, calling out the dry-eyed dramatics like, yeah, she wouldn't last a week in local theater. And then boom, Megyn Kelly stepped in, heels clicking like knives and a tone so sharp it practically cut through the fake sentiment on impact.
Megyn some credit, but not a lot. Because they want to be seen as this modern couple, way hipper than the other stuffy ones in the family. Okay, then go all the way and say it. Say, we're not just taking a step back from royalty, we're renouncing the whole outdated, racist, anachronistic lot of it. We're saying loud and proud, what is this that some people are royal? You want to be modern and woke and all that? You want to get rid of politically incorrect words? How about Your Highness? What?
Meghan heard Meghan's emotional monologue and basically looked ready to stage an intervention on live TV. She didn't even flinch, just broke the whole thing down like a sloppy true crime doc with bad editing. No moody lighting, no suspenseful music, just a mic and her signature brand of doubt. To Meghan, this wasn't some raw outpouring of grief. It was more like emotional graphic design, the kind of thing you sketch out in scenes before hitting record.
When she married Harry, the press was wonderful for her. The British people loved Harry, and they were delighted to see him so happy and in love, and she was playing the role of demure, supportive partner to a T. I mean, very well. It wasn't until she started to make her positions clear and continuously play the victim from the palace that people started to get a feel of who she really was, and then the public opinion turned, and so did the press.
She broke it down like a scene-by-scene breakdown of a scripted drama, like Meghan had plotted her own emotions with timestamps. Sniffle at 12:47, voice crack at 12:53, pause for effect, cue the soft piano and fragile ego. And Meghan, she wasn't buying a second of it. She handled the whole thing like swatting a fly with a diamond tennis racket. Quick, clean, and with zero effort. She straight up asked, how does someone who claims to hate attention end up crying on cue in front of a full production crew? She didn't need physical receipts, just pure media savvy. Because here's the thing, when real people break down, they're not adjusting mic levels or hitting perfect emotional cues like it's a Broadway callback. It wasn't just the fake crying, it was the whole vibe, the polished grief, the Instagram ready sorrow, the kind of emotional packaging that feels more like branding than pain. And just when you thought the roast was done, the universe tossed in Bill Maher for good measure. No, they didn't plan this together. Not even a group chat. But the second Bill's sarcasm switch flipped, it was curtains for Meghan on a totally different show on a totally different day. He saw the act and hit her with the verbal equivalent of, girl, stop.
They just strike me as creatures of that generation. You know, you're just fragile. You know, just take a hint from the Queen, the recently departed.
Never complain, never explain, and rarely be heard speaking in public.
You're complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous. I totally agree.
With the timing of a seasoned comic and the vibe of someone stuck behind a Prius doing 20 and a 60, Bill Maher took Meghan's fake crying and absolutely flattened it with sarcasm. He didn't just poke fun at the tears, he built a whole satire. Palace on top of them, complete with gold fixtures, insecurity in the foundation, and a moat full of crocodile tears. It was like he created a brand new genre, cry comedy. And this is Bill Maher we're talking about, a guy who usually saves his punchlines for politicians and people who think almond milk counts as dairy. But even he couldn't pass up the Markle melodrama. He went all in, mocking the whole act with the same energy as a dad binge-watching TikTok cringe compilations. The sniffle, red flag. That shaky voice. Straight from the bargain bin of method acting. And the whole royal victim vibe. He said it had more holes than Swiss cheese. At a shooting range. Unlike Meghan, who picked it apart piece by piece, Bill just ripped through it. Casual, ruthless, and just sharp enough to curdle your coffee. He pointed out that most Americans, polite or not, can spot a manufactured breakdown from miles away. Especially when it drops right between a product launch and a promo deal. And when he rolled his eyes, you could practically hear them doing laps in low orbit.
You couldn't avoid the promo for this summer if you turned on your television. Trying to get her back into people's minds so she can relaunch her career, maybe improve her likability factor. Well, it's not working. A new poll conducted by Newsweek shows that her popularity is down 8 points from June. She's underwater in her net approval rating. 33% of people reported their dislike for her. 31% said she was okay to them. I guess the rest don't have an opinion. But she's going in the wrong direction. Harry's liked by a few more, but they're still both disliked. And so you tell me whether it is possible at this point to rehabilitate Meghan Markle.
And here's the poetic twist. Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher barely agree on what day it is. One leans right, the other hovers somewhere between sarcastic burnout and full-on apocalypse mode. But somehow, in this rare cosmic glitch, they both caught Meghan Markle's latest performance and landed on the same verdict. Ma'am, no. And that's not politics, that's just universal cringe. When two people who usually argue about everything end up accidentally high-fiving over how fake your emotional moment felt, you know it's bad. It's like cats and dogs calling a timeout just to stop your ukulele cover. That kind of collective discomfort doesn't happen unless the flop is planetary. Meghan went in on the media manipulation, broke down the angles, the pacing, the emotional editing. Bill, he just asked the obvious. Why is anyone still shocked when a Hollywood-trained duchess shows up to her podcast like she's auditioning for drama club president? Because it's not just about one set of tears, it's the pattern. Every big reveal, every weepy confession just so happens to line up with a new brand rollout, a new project, or some fresh repackaging of old pain. And let's be real, this isn't her first go at it. We've had the Oprah interview, the Netflix doc, the glossy photos of her sadly staring into a fireplace, and now the podcast Sob Fest. There's no depth, just curated drama with mood lighting.
She is the most insecure person I have seen in the public eye in a long time. That is why everything had to be perfectly curated. Who the hell picks fucking berries in a white cashmere blouse and white pants? Literally no one on earth does that. And like this garden, which is like the most over the top. Like we're all supposed to go, Maureen, to make our breakfast in the morning out to our gardens and pick our berries, our raspberries, our strawberries, our blueberries, our snozberries, and cut our mint, and then cut our flowers that are edible. But don't worry, she's a woman of the people. You can grow those just on your windowsill at home in New York, your edible flowers.
And don't forget your local beekeeper.
Yeah.
Your local beekeeper.
Oh, yeah, because she has a bee hive, which she goes to. That's how they open the whole series with her bees. And like, don't worry, if you don't have this, just go to your local beekeeper. Clearly, we're living in different worlds.
And of course, the backlash came in hot. Meghan's fans jumped to her defense, calling Megyn Kelly bitter and accusing Bill Maher of being smug, like smugness hasn't basically been his brand from day one. But by then, the damage was done. That whole emotional Jenga tower already collapsed. People just weren't buying what Meghan was trying to sell. Especially when two completely unaligned media voices both instinctively called out the same thing without even coordinating. No palace leaks, no secret footage, just two sharp media. Vets watching her latest performance and collectively rolling their eyes into another dimension. Let's be real, if your raw story comes with mood lighting, background music, and fade-outs timed to your emotional pauses, you're probably performing for the lens, not working through real pain. Meghan exposed the spin, Bill mocked the pity, and without even meaning to, they created this perfect storm of yeah, no thanks. What really sank it though was how expected it all felt. People aren't heartless, they're just better at spotting fake tears wrapped in high production value. You can't keep faking real forever. Eventually, someone's gonna walk in, wrench in hand, and pop the lid off the whole illusion.
Also, I'm a little bit fascinated, right? The mother was born in America, the father was born in America, but Meghan is now telling us that she's 43% Nigerian?
This is the most ridiculous. This is the same woman who said, I never even considered my blackness until the British tabloids started to make a thing out of it. Never even. Now she's like, I am Nigeria. Fellow women, hear me roar. I mean, who is she kidding? She's as white as I am. And she's over there like leaning in. Now I'm the face of the black woman. Okay, how much time did she have for this when she was on Suits, when she was doing the Tig, when she was trying to land the ginger from the royal family to marry her? Apparently none.
This time around, it was Megyn Kelly wielding the precision scalpel and Bill Maher blasting away with full sarcasm mode. And still, Megyn said nothing. No clapback, no defense. Because what could she really say? It wasn't a debate. It wasn't a back and forth. It was a full-on roast, uninvited and unstoppable. Even her own supporters started raising eyebrows, asking why every emotional confession feels like it's packaged with promo material, why every tearful moment just so happens to come with a press push, a product line, or a perfectly placed PR rollout. And most of all, dude, where are the actual tears? Not a streak, not a mascara smudge, not even one lonely teardrop making the brave journey down her cheek. Megyn cut through the branding. Bill saw straight through the drama. And the audience, tired of watching the same royal rerun, finally saw through the whole performance. Megyn didn't get dragged. She got taken apart piece by piece. And what followed? Nothing. No response, no counter-narrative, just silence. Two media figures from opposite ends of the spectrum independently calling out the same tired act. This wasn't personal. It was overdue, because at a certain point, even the most loyal fans have to admit, if your emotional vulnerability shows up with a marketing plan, maybe it's not really a breakdown. Maybe it's just another pitch.
It's ridiculous that one human being, this is something liberals especially should believe, that you don't call another human being Your Highness. Are you kidding me?
Come on, Bill, try it.
No. And, you know, although I do, personally, I like Charles. I always thought he was a smart guy. He had some really good issues. You know, I thought they made fun of him. You know, he gave him some ammunition for that, but no public person doesn't. But, you know, why even have this? And I know there are reasons. Enjoy it, whatever.
Meghan didn't rant. Bill didn't shout. They just calmly, surgically, and hilariously called it what it was. A performance, and not even a good one. And right on cue, here comes the backlash. Meghan's defenders rushed out like clockwork, armed with hashtags, oversized mugs of moral outrage, and the ability to spot misogyny from outer space. Suddenly, Megyn Kelly's a villain with a tiara revenge board, and Bill Maher clearly just hates women, because there's no way a man could possibly criticize a public figure without it being sexist. Not because the whole act felt Oscar-level fake or anything, but in the middle of all that noise, something interesting started to happen. A few people, not angry, not outraged, just curious. Like, when exactly does sharing your truth turn into selling your pain? Is trauma now the new endorsement deal? Swap out ads for grievances and boom, instant brand power. Maybe, just maybe, folks are getting tired of watching pain dressed up with royalty-free piano tracks and a Spotify logo. Meghan didn't respond, by the way, no press release. Just a scenic mindfulness detour through the Alps, while apparently whispers from the Sussex Circle reveal a creeping fear. Perception fatigue. Translation? People are over it. The same storyline, new lighting, same tears, different outfit. Even the diehard fans are checking out. And that's the real gut punch. Not a scandal, not a headline, just the slow fade out of credibility. We're now in the era where every podcast tear feels pre-lit and pre-approved. The charm's worn. Off. Nobody wants to hear about emotional suffering from a villa in sustainable Kashmir. That whole strategy, aging like unrefrigerated oat milk. And when Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher, two people who'd usually avoid agreeing on the weather, end up roasting the exact same moment from opposite sides of the media world, you know it's not about politics. It's about people being done with the polished pity routine. If there's one thing this circus has proven, it's this. When Megyn and Bill team up, unintentionally, to roast your cry like a campfire marshmallow, maybe it's time to rewrite the script. Until then, keep your tear detectors handy, because let's be honest, Markle Season 4 is probably already in post-production.